Hey guys, Sinn here with another video blog. This week we'll have the first of the continuing these. So I'm going to do these every Monday now, and they're going to be like 10 minutes long because YouTube only lets you put 10-minute videos on there, and I'm too lazy to really do multiple parts. So today, couple of things. I want to give you guys an idea of what I'm going to be talking about later on the blog, give you guys an idea of what's coming up on the podcast, and talk a little bit about what's been going on with me. So, lately, I have just been working and going out and seeing the girls that I'm seeing and just kind of making all my life de-chaos, because I had that whole period where for a month I was teaching boot camps and I was, having people stay with me, running around the country, and this, that, or the other. We also released the day game product, so my life got crazy. And that's something that I think happens to a lot of guys. Sometimes it's too much work, sometimes it's too much partying, sometimes it's getting too involved with one girl or, several girls in your rotation, and you lose a little bit of your grip on reality. So now I'm kind of de-chaosifying all areas of my life. My health, like I went to the doctor and made a dentist appointment to get my wisdom teeth out, which is something I've been supposed to do for like a couple of years, and I kept putting it off and being like, oh yeah, wisdom teeth, whatever, my teeth don't hurt. And so I'm getting that done, so that'll be exciting. If I'm blogging a lot for a particular day or I'm complaining because I'm in pain on my Twitter, then you guys know that it was probably wisdom teeth day. You'll hear about it. I'll complain, I'm sure. Also made sure I was getting back to the gym, reestablishing doing yoga. I feel like, for me personally, I need to have things to manage my emotional states, and I think most guys are like that. You need to be able to do things for your body and your mind so that you're in the right state of mind, so that you're kind of in control of your thoughts and you're not having a whole bunch of crazy low self-esteem or depression, and stuff like that. And I think that for me, yoga and physical exercise are big keys to that, just because the more my body feels good and the more I kind of relax and focus inward and kind of get out of my head, the better I feel about myself. And I think most people are like that. So going out of my way to find things like that. Boxing also is another thing like that for me, but everyone out there can have things like this that you do for yourself to kind of keep your mind right, make sure that you're not getting too stressed out, make sure that you have outlets for the stress and frustration that you have as you're going through the self-improvement process with pickup and everything. What else? Just financially and all that kind of stuff. I've been getting that kind of stuff straight. I've been getting more into kind of investing my money and also not just spending it. I'm on like budgets and stuff now, which is a first for me too. So I'm like becoming a real adult outside of a traveling vagabond pickup artist as I've been for the last 5 to 6 years. So that's good. All that feels very productive. Weather's great. Some of my friends are going out of town and stuff, so I've been doing a lot of good buys lately. Went out this weekend with Zuzu. He came down for the weekend. You guys heard him on the podcast last week. I'm sure we'll get him back in a couple of weeks. But we had a couple of nights out, which were fun, and really illustrated the absolute futility of trying to AMOG. There was a guy over the weekend who I was gaming this girl for a really long time, and he had known her already, and came to the bar to meet her, and he was like making cracks about my hair, and they weren't funny, and so he just kept losing value, and me and the girl and even his friends that he brought with him were just kind of like, ooh, what are you doing here? He was like, oh, where can I get hair like that? And I was like, oh yeah, this studio, it's actually a really cool place. It's down over in the section of town it's in, and it does really cool hair, from my opinion. And he's like, I should get it. I'd be like, yeah, man, great. Awesome on you. And he was like, yeah, and he kept touching, and it was just very, like, typical AMOG stuff. And the thing I realized was that unless someone laughs with you, unless the AMOG is the jabbing, teasing comment to another guy is accepted, you just look bad. So AMOGing in general is kind of a falsehood. And I'm going to write an article about that at some point. In fact, I'll be starting a kind of series on the blog and maybe in the newsletter about community stuff that's taught that's just almost 100% wrong, and I think AMOGing is one of them. I think the overall idea is to kind of be above AMOGing, be friendly and interesting, and dominate the conversation. Don't get pulled down to the level of the guy trying to fuck with you or tease you, because most of the time if they're not getting group approval, they're just making themselves look bad, and they're kind of digging their own grave. So that's something to keep in mind. I'll probably write that up. There's a couple other ones, like the 7-hour rule, S&R theory, some of the ideas that all you need is confidence or all you need is to escalate. There's going to be a bunch of these over the next few weeks, just because I think that it's time to update kind of the ideas that are the basis of game. And I think the ideas that were the basis of game in 2004, 2005, when I got involved with this stuff, and I think where a lot of people are still seeing, because they come into this in a post-game world and you read the game, and I think a lot of that is very, very dated material for guys. So I'm going to try to update a lot of that stuff and put like fundamental cornerstone posts up so that kind of guys know what I'm about, what I'm teaching, how it's fundamentally different from the other stuff that I used to teach and used to work with, and why I've kind of come to these realizations with actual in-field and teaching evidence behind it, because I try not to make any distinctions or draw conclusions until I've tested it and I've taught it to guys and have them test it. So I'll have some of that stuff coming up. More importantly, this week I have another one of my John patented takes on attraction. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of bad reality TV, and my new favorite show is Daisy of Love, which stars Daisy De La Hoya, who was like a loser on Rock of Love, and she's kind of one of those girls that sometimes she looks hot and sometimes she doesn't, and she's like trashy. She used to be a stripper. She's Oscar De La Hoya's cousin. It's amazing, and she got all these really tattooed kind of bad boys, I guess you would want to say, wannabe rock stars to come on and compete for her, and it's amazing. It's going into the finale next week, and so for the final 3 contestants, who are London, Flex, and 12-Pack, I'm going to be writing up kind of analyses of how they got to where they're at with Daisy, what they're doing right, what their weaknesses are, and I'm going to handicap the show, much like I handicapped the Pickup Artist. But I really do think all 3 of these guys have a very different style of attraction, while they all fit different kind of stereotypes as well for what a girl's looking for. And there's things on passion, there's things on kind of natural chemistry and connection, and there's been a lot of interesting stuff that's happened throughout the show that I think really relates to dating and attraction in everybody, but has some hilarious kind of outlying results. So I'm going to write about those, breaking those down in typical John Sinn style. Look for those starting on Wednesday. I'm going to start with London. And then tomorrow we're going to have a podcast with myself and Spear, which will be really, really entertaining. We'll have, I'm sure, plenty of trash talking and stories about Venusian arts and mystery and those guys, and there'll be a little bit of stuff on game and kind of connection building as well. So you definitely don't want to miss that. SinnandtheCities.com, or subscribe to it on iTunes. Also, make sure you're around the forum this week, because I think we're going to do a running Q&A at some point for a couple of hours. So stop by sinnsofattraction.com/forum and check that out. Probably going to happen, my guess is Friday. Depends on what my schedule looks like, but either Friday or maybe Wednesday. I'll post about it on the blog here where you guys are watching this, and you can check it out. Ask me some questions. If you're on a lunch break or you're at work and you want to just go on and ask a bunch of questions, we'll be doing that too. So stay tuned for that, the Daisy of Love breakdowns, and the Spear podcast. That's all coming up this week in the Sins of Attraction blog. So I'm going to go back to finishing up newsletters and various other things that I have to do on a Monday, and I hope you guys have a good day.